All right, chosen one, let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. Have you ever met someone who disrupts your soul? I'm not talking about butterflies or shallow emotions. I'm talking about a pull so deep, so persistent, that no matter how much you try to silence it, it keeps calling you back. You've tried to move on. You've tried to bury the feelings. You've prayed. You've reasoned. You've told yourself, it's over. But it's not. There's a force, invisible yet undeniable, pulling you back to that person. And in the quiet moments, when nobody's watching, you begin to wonder, is this my imagination? Is it weakness? Or is God himself whispering to my spirit? Chosen one, listen carefully. God doesn't play with hearts. He doesn't create soul ties for amusement. When heaven designs a connection, it's because that bond carries purpose, mission, and divine timing. Today, I will unveil 5 prophetic signs that reveal when God has chosen a specific person to walk your journey. This is not about fleeting passion. This is not about human desire. This is about destiny alignment. And if you stay with me until the end of this message, your eyes will open to truths that many people live their whole lives without seeing. You will understand why this connection refuses to die, why it haunts your prayers, why even in silence, something deep inside you keeps whispering, it's not over. But chosen one, before we dive in, I need you to do something spiritual. If you're feeling this message piercing through you right now, hit that like button. If you know you're part of this remnant, this army of chosen ones, make sure you're subscribed, because heaven is pouring out revelations, and you cannot afford to miss them. And I want you to comment below the number 99. Why 99? Because heaven is leaving the 99 to pursue the one connection that is part of your destiny. Comment 99 as a prophetic act that you are ready for divine clarity. Let's go deep now. What you're about to hear will forever change how you see this person. Sign number 1. The repeated encounters are not random chosen. 1. Let me tell you a spiritual truth that most people miss. God's fingerprints are all over your coincidences. You've tried to move on. You've tried to close the book. You've convinced yourself, it's done, I'm free, I'm moving forward. But then, when you least expect it, there it is. A random scroll on social media, and their face appears. You walk into a place you've never been before, and they're standing there. You wake up from a dream, and their name is echoing in your mind. Chosen one, these are not accidents. These are not just random glitches in the matrix. These are divine appointments orchestrated by heaven. When God wants to unite two souls, he doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to send angels with trumpets. He whispers through patterns, through timings, through the choreography of life that seems subtle to the eyes, but thunderous to the spirit. Do you know why it feels like every time you're about to forget them, life pulls you back? Because your connection is not tethered to emotions. It's tethered to purpose. And purpose does not expire when emotions fade. It waits. It aligns. It reactivates when heaven says, now. But here's the mystery. God's divine connections often hide behind layers of inconvenience. You'll meet at moments that seem awkward, situations that seem insignificant. But in the spiritual realm, those encounters are heaven's checkpoints. Each one is a test, a confirmation, a reminder that the story hasn't reached its final chapter. Chosen one, remember this. God will allow temporary separations to cultivate permanent lessons. He'll let the distance mold you. But when the time is right, he will bend the paths of life to ensure you cross again. And when that happens, it won't be random. It will be divine precision. Let me ask you, have you noticed how these meetings are never just casual? The conversations hit differently. The silences speak louder. Even a simple hello feels like a spiritual echo from a past you can't explain. That's because your spirits recognize each other beyond time and space. It's like a soul memory is being reactivated every time your eyes meet. The universe isn't bringing you together for nostalgia. It's not playing games with your heart. It's the Holy Spirit recalibrating your attention to something heaven hasn't finished yet. But here's a warning. Not every intense connection is divine. That's why discernment is crucial. When it's God, these encounters won't leave you in confusion. They'll bring silent peace in the midst of unanswered questions. Even when nothing makes sense externally, your inner spirit will whisper, "There's more to this." And that's why you're here. That's why this video found you. Because the encounters you've been having are not life repeating itself for no reason. It's heaven tapping your shoulder saying, "Pay attention. The story isn't over. You're in a divine rehearsal." Chosen one, these repetitive crossings are not interruptions. They are divine rehearsals for a connection that's still in preparation. God is teaching you to recognize His signature. He's aligning your heart to see beyond what's visible. And as you watch this video, you're starting to realize what you thought were coincidences, what you brushed off as random events, were actually prophetic breadcrumbs leading you back to your assignment. But I must tell you, these encounters are about to intensify, because when God is about to release something, He amplifies the signals. Expect the unexpected. Prepare your spirit. Because this was never random. And chosen one, if you feel this word stirring something inside you, stay with me. Because in the next sign, I will reveal how this person's presence becomes a spiritual activator for your purpose, even when they don't say a single word. The story is about to go even deeper. Sign number 2. Their presence awakens your spirit. Chosen one, listen carefully. This sign isn't about butterflies. It's not about the thrill of being seen, desired, or admired. No, this is about soul ignition. There are people who make you feel wanted. There are people who make you feel entertained. But then, there are those rare souls who, without even trying, ignite a spiritual fire inside of you. When they enter the room, something shifts. The atmosphere changes. Your thoughts become clearer. Your prayers become bolder. Your heart, which was once distracted, suddenly realigns with your divine purpose. Chosen one, this is not emotional dependency. It's not about needing someone to complete you. This is spiritual activation. Understand this. God doesn't bring people into your life just to make you feel comfortable. He sends certain souls to wake you up, to remind you of the dreams you buried, to reignite the visions you silenced, to push you back into alignment with heaven's blueprint over your life. And the most powerful part? They don't have to preach to you. They don't have to give you a speech. Their presence alone is prophetic. Their energy disrupts stagnation in you. It pulls out the warrior, the intercessor, the visionary that life tried to bury under distractions and disappointments. Chosen one, have you ever noticed that when you're near this person, you suddenly feel more aware of who you are? Not the version the world tried to define, not the version shaped by traumas or expectations, but the version God whispered into existence before you were even born. That's because their spirit is coded to unlock parts of your destiny. This is kingdom alignment. It's not just chemistry. Chemistry fades. But when heaven forges a connection, it transcends emotions and taps into eternal purpose. You see, when God writes your story, He doesn't pair you with someone who will let you settle. He pairs you with someone who will provoke your spiritual growth, who will sharpen your discernment, who will mirror back to you the image of who you are called to be in the spirit realm. And here's the secret. This activation is mutual. It's not one-sided. When you're in their presence, you both experience a divine synergy. Your spirits recognize each other, and together you start vibrating at a higher spiritual frequency. Your prayers gain weight. Your dreams regain wings. Your purpose gains momentum. Chosen one, this isn't about finding someone to complete your weaknesses. It's about encountering a soul that complements your calling. Two flames that, when brought together, burn brighter. Not for personal gratification, but for kingdom impact. But beware. This connection won't always feel safe in the emotional sense, because they will challenge you. Not through criticism, but through their presence of purpose. You'll feel convicted to rise higher. You'll feel stirred to confront areas of your life you've been avoiding. That's what makes this connection uncomfortable, yet sacred. And it's in that sacred discomfort that God does His greatest work. Because the right person won't lull you into spiritual apathy. They will awaken the parts of you that hell hoped you'd never discover. They will remind you of prayers you stopped praying, of promises you thought were lost. Chosen one, here's how you know this is a God-ordained connection. Even in silence, even without touch, their spiritual presence sharpens your focus on God. You're not distracted. You're elevated. You don't feel smaller. You feel like heaven is enlarging your territory. And maybe, just maybe, this is why the enemy fought so hard to separate you. Because he knew that if the two of you ever stood side by side, aligned in purpose, you'd become an unstoppable force in the spiritual realm. Chosen one, you're not just feeling emotions. You're sensing a divine frequency. Their presence is a mirror reflecting back to you, the warrior, the leader, the intercessor that God has called you to be. And this is only the beginning, because in the next sign you'll understand why even time, silence, and distance can't break a bond that was written in heaven's archives before you were born. The connection you feel, it's not fragile, it's eternal. And what I'm about to reveal will make you see why that bond refuses to die, no matter how far apart you are. Sign number 3. The bond survives. Time, silence, and distance. Chosen one, you need to hear this. Most connections are fragile. They shatter with distance. They fade with silence. A simple misunderstanding, a few weeks apart, and suddenly, it's like they never knew you. But when God is the author of a connection, the bond is built on a foundation that time, silence, and distance cannot destroy. You see, in human relationships, people seek constant validation. Text me back. Prove you care. Don't let too much time pass, or I'll forget you. But spiritual connections operate in a different realm. They don't suffocate under absence. They mature in it. Chosen one, God often allows seasons of separation, not to kill the connection, but to refine it. He doesn't unite souls for temporary companionship. He forges bonds that will stand the test of storms, deserts, and even the coldest silences. Maybe you've experienced it. Months pass, years even. You go through seasons where life tries to convince you it's over. But then, unexpectedly, with no warning, a memory triggers. A name resurfaces. A dream disrupts your night. And it's not nostalgia. It's not your heart being weak. It's your spirit responding to a bond that heaven never allowed to be severed. Chosen one, understand this. When God writes your story, He doesn't fear the distance. He doesn't panic in the silence. He knows that what is built in the Spirit cannot be undone by the limitations of time or space. The world teaches you that love fades when you're apart. But in the kingdom, love matures in the wilderness. It grows roots beneath the surface. It learns to breathe in seasons of pruning. And when the appointed time comes, what survived the distance becomes unshakable. You must realize, this bond is not emotional obsession. It's a spiritual tether. It's a covenant that transcends what your natural eyes can see. Even when you both went your separate ways, even when mistakes were made, even when words were spoken that caused wounds, there's something deeper that remains untouched. That's not human attachment. That's the preservation of a divine assignment. Chosen one, you are being trained to recognize spiritual resilience. God allows the pause to teach you patience. He allows the silence to teach you to hear His whispers. He allows the distance to show you that proximity is not proof of purpose. Obedience is. Think about this. There are connections that crumble at the first sign of discomfort. But the one God has chosen for you, even in the absence of words, your spirits remain in dialogue. Even when you don't see each other, your missions are still intertwining in the unseen. It's not about how often you communicate. It's about how deeply you remain spiritually calibrated to each other's purpose. Sometimes the most powerful work God does in a connection happens in the seasons where you are apart, because it's during these times that He is working on the individual pieces, refining character, healing wounds, preparing hearts. And here's the most important revelation. If God has allowed this connection to survive everything that was designed to break it, the time apart, the misunderstandings, the emotional deserts, then it's because the assignment is still alive. The bond was not created for convenience, it was created for kingdom impact. Chosen one, this is not weakness. This is not you being stuck in the past. This is you being tethered to a future that heaven already saw. When the bond refuses to die, even when logic says it should have, that's when you know this isn't emotional dependency. This is prophetic endurance. And here's the warning, the enemy knows this. That's why he will use time to make you doubt. He will use silence to make you question. But remember, God doesn't need noise to work. He works in the quiet. He moves in the unseen. And when the appointed time arrives, God will reconnect what He preserved. Not as a repeat of the past, but as a rebirth into purpose. Chosen one, the bond you feel. The one that keeps pulsing in your spirit despite the years, the silence, the distance. That bond is a seed that didn't die. It was buried. But now, it's about to sprout in the season of divine alignment. But you must stay tuned, because in the next sign, I will reveal the reason why this connection isn't just about companionship, but about a joint mission that will shake the spiritual atmosphere. You thought this was about a relationship. It's about impacting destinies. Stay with me. The next revelation will unlock a truth that could change how you see everything. Sign number 4. They push you towards your calling, not away from it. Chosen one, here's a revelation that will shift your entire perspective. Not everyone who loves you is aligned with your calling. Some people enter your life to comfort your wounds, but others, the ones God sends, enter to awaken the warrior in you. There are connections that distract you. They feel good in the moment. They fill emotional gaps. But deep inside, you feel yourself drifting from your purpose. Your prayer life weakens. Your vision becomes blurry. Your spiritual hunger gets replaced with temporary pleasures. But when God ordains a connection, it doesn't numb you. It ignites you. Chosen one, this person might not always say what you want to hear, but they carry the authority to mirror back to you the version of yourself you're called to become. They don't settle for your excuses. They don't accommodate your comfort zones. They carry a presence that forces your spirit to rise higher. And the most fascinating part? It's not through long speeches or manipulations. It's subtle, yet unstoppable. Being around them naturally recalibrates your focus. Suddenly you're praying deeper. You're dreaming bigger. You're seeing your assignment with fresh clarity, because their spirit is wired to realign yours with heaven's design. This isn't chemistry. Chemistry can be manufactured. It can be faked with charm, attention, or attraction. But what you're feeling is covenant activation. It's a divine synergy that goes beyond emotions. It stirs your potential. It calls forth the hidden gifts inside you. It exposes the areas where you've settled for less. Chosen one, you must understand. The one God sends won't always walk hand in hand with you through fields of roses. Sometimes they will confront you. Sometimes their presence will make you uncomfortable, not because they're against you, but because they see what heaven deposited inside you, and they refuse to let you walk beneath your anointing. Have you ever noticed that when you try to slack spiritually, this person somehow pulls you back? Not through guilt, but through their very presence. Their passion reignites yours. Their pursuit of purpose stirs you out of complacency. That's not coincidence. That's divine design. God pairs you with people who refine you, not just comfort you. They are not there to be your escape. They are there to be your alignment force. Chosen one, they might not be your happily ever after, in the way fairy tales describe, but they are your divine catalyst. And sometimes, the person God uses to activate your calling is not the one who makes you feel safe, but the one who makes you feel sent. They remind you of your spiritual DNA. When the world tries to shrink you, they'll provoke you to expand. When the enemy tries to drown you in doubt, they'll push you to believe again. This person becomes a living mirror reflecting back to you the version of yourself that God envisioned, stronger, bolder, purpose-driven. And here's the mystery. Even when distance separates you, their influence lingers. It's as if their voice echoes in your decisions. Their presence becomes a standard, a constant reminder that you are called for more. You can't return to small thinking. You can't go back to shallow prayers. Because they've awakened a spiritual momentum in you that refuses to die. Chosen one, do you see now? This isn't a romantic fairy tale. It's a kingdom partnership in the making. Even if they don't stay forever, their role is pivotal, because God is using them as a bridge to get you from who you are to who you were always meant to be. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the enemy has fought this connection so fiercely. Not because of how they make you feel, but because of how they make you become. Chosen one, when a person doesn't let you settle, when they challenge you, sharpen you, align you, that's not chemistry. That's covenant. That's purpose colliding with purpose. And now, as you reflect on this, you're beginning to realize this connection isn't designed to trap you in emotions. It's crafted to release you into destiny. But hold on, because in the next sign, I'm going to reveal the ultimate key. Why your missions are intertwined in ways you haven't even begun to see. And how this connection has the potential to not only change your life, but to impact generations. Chosen one? The next revelation will make you see why God's timing had to be so precise. You're about to understand the kingdom strategy behind this connection. Sign number 5. Your mission and their mission are intertwined. Chosen one, you must understand something powerful. God doesn't orchestrate connections just to satisfy human emotions. He aligns lives for kingdom impact. Before you loved each other, before you even knew their name, heaven had already crafted a divine blueprint. A design where your gifts, your wounds, your dreams, and even your past battles would fit together perfectly, like sacred puzzle pieces. This connection was never about filling a void in your heart. It was always about fulfilling a divine mission on earth. You see, the world teaches you to look for someone who completes you emotionally. But heaven isn't concerned with emotional comfort zones. Heaven is strategic. God is looking for partnerships that will shake spiritual realms, connections that will birth movements, alliances that will become weapons of mass restoration. And here's the mystery. The very areas where you feel weak, they carry a matching strength in them. The dreams you're too afraid to pursue, they carry the courage you lack. The wounds you thought disqualified you, they carry the balm to heal not only you, but countless others through your union. Chosen one, this is divine interdependence. It's not dependency born from fear of being alone. It's alignment birthed from heaven's agenda. When God intertwines two missions, he's not thinking about selfies and romantic dinners. He's thinking about legacies, generations, chains breaking, territories being claimed for the kingdom. Maybe you never realized it, but that person who triggers your spiritual awakening, the one who challenges you to grow, their life carries keys to doors you've been knocking on for years, and vice versa. Together, you don't just form a couple, you form a spiritual force field. Your testimonies merge. Your battles converge. Your victories multiply. Because the connection was not designed for individual survival, it was designed for corporate revival. Chosen one, have you wondered why this bond feels irreplaceable? Why no matter who comes along, it never carries the same weight? It's because this connection wasn't born in human emotion. It was birthed in eternity's archives. It's a story heaven wrote before time began. And God is too intentional to let it unfold prematurely. That's why the process has been so meticulous. That's why the timing feels so frustrating. Because this isn't a casual relationship. It's a kingdom alliance that carries generational consequences. Every delay, every pruning season, every moment of separation was allowed to strengthen the pillars of your assignment together. God didn't want you to unite with unhealed wounds or to walk together while still being spiritually misaligned. He has been refining you, and He has been refining them. In parallel paths, in silent seasons, but always moving toward a divine collision. Chosen one, this isn't just a relationship. It's a spiritual deployment. Two callings intertwining to unlock dimensions of influence that you could never reach alone. And let me tell you something. The enemy knew this. That's why the warfare has been so intense. Not because of your emotions, but because of your potential impact together. When two people are aligned by heaven, their union becomes a portal for divine strategies to manifest on earth. You don't just love each other, you amplify each other's anointing. You cover each other's blind spots. You become heaven's answer to problems you haven't even seen yet. Chosen one. When God joins two missions, He's thinking far beyond your personal happiness. He's thinking about the lives you'll touch, the chains you'll break, the spiritual territories you'll reclaim. That's why this connection feels sacred. That's why it feels irreplaceable. Because it was never about what's comfortable. It's about what's eternally consequential. And now, as you're hearing this, something inside you is stirring. A realization. A remembrance. You're not crazy. You're not obsessive. You're spiritually aware. You've been sensing what heaven has been orchestrating all along. A kingdom alliance wrapped in divine timing. But chosen one, We are not done yet. Because now we must bring everything together. In the final revelation, you will understand why God's delays were never denials, and why, when He moves with precision, with glory, and with purpose. Stay with me, because the next words will not just conclude this message. They will activate a prophetic awakening inside of you. Chosen one, this moment right here is not a coincidence. Everything you've heard until now wasn't just information. It was a prophetic unveiling, a divine reminder that heaven has been orchestrating things behind the scenes. Even when you doubted, even when you couldn't see the full picture, the signs you've been noticing, the encounters that seem random, the bond that refuses to die. It's all been part of a sacred design, a blueprint heaven sketched long before you took your first breath. You are not imagining it. You are not being foolish. You are being called deeper. God has not been silent. He's been strategic. He's been preparing you for this exact moment of clarity. Chosen one, the connection you feel is not here to entertain your emotions. It's here to ignite your mission. It's here to align you with the version of yourself that hell feared would awaken. This is not the end of a chapter. This is the prelude to your divine deployment. And now, I want you to make a declaration. Write it in the comments like a spiritual stamp that echoes into the atmosphere. I recognize the signs. Because when you declare it, you're not just confirming it for yourself. You're sending a ripple into someone else's spirit, someone who's been silently praying for a confirmation that only your words can provide. Chosen one, this is bigger than you. This is bigger than feelings. This is kingdom orchestration at its finest. You are part of a divine strategy that will ripple across generations. So here's what you must do next. Send this message to the one person who came to your mind while you were watching. Don't hesitate. You might be the divine instrument God is using to pull someone out of confusion into clarity. Your obedience could be the spark that awakens another chosen one. Remember this truth and let it engrave itself in your spirit. When it's God's plan, it doesn't fade away. It matures, it evolves, it aligns. And when the appointed time comes, it manifests with a force that no man, no delay, no demon can stop. Chosen one. This is your moment to stand in spiritual awareness, to walk in expectancy, to trust that God is not just writing a love story. He's forging a kingdom alliance that will echo in eternity. So, breathe this in. If it's from God, it will return. If it's from God, it will align. If it's from God, it will be unstoppable. Now go, declare it, activate it, and walk like the warrior heaven has been preparing you to be.